Howdy friends, welcome to the House of Tone. My name is Wes Lee. I'm a band instrument repair technician. I started a YouTube channel to show what my life is like doing that. Well, that Barry sax from last week, man, it came out honking. Check this out. Oh yeah, that's the stuff there. Those old cons can just honk. All right, saxophone time again today. Let's uncase this one. What we've got here is an unfortunate soul from Friday Night Lights action. Ooh. Well, we have a serious fold on the bell rim. What's worse is that the throat is flattened. The brass is very flattened here. The brace has been punched in, and actually this brace should be straight, and it's curved over. Coming around the back, the Seakey is jammed and is not over the tonehole. The post is in the body, dented into the body real bad there. The E-flat doesn't move. Well, the E-flat moves, but the key is not over the tone hole here. We've definitely got our work cut out for us. The body is straight, and it plays down to about D, and then it just stops here. So let's get on it. So what I'm going to start with doing is trying to push by hand, push this rim back up some. This is hollow on these. It's not a soldered rim. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of push on this and see if I can start pulling the bell back out. Tough love, but put it back, but we'll get it. And what I'm trying to do here is push down, and it'll pull. This bell is going to want to go back to being round, so it just needs a little bit of flexing, and you can see it moving here. All right, the bell key is starting to move again a little bit. We've got these keys operational. Those weren't before, so just keep on going. Oh, time out for the telephone. So we're just continuing just to work with your thumbs and moving things back to where they should be. Yeah, that's great. It's going to be all right. And really, you'll come to the point where you feel that you're not going to see this bell moving around as much. You won't see it flexing as much, and that kind of lets you know that you're back in the ballpark. So I think we're about there. The next thing we're going to go after is this dent. Okay, so I've got my rod set up quite a ways from the vise. The method that we're going to use is called a rebound method. So I've got Miss Kay, my trusty assistant, and what she's going to do is she's going to use this bowling pin and strike against the rod as I'm putting pressure down, and so it's going to actually rebound that dent out. Give me a light stroke. Okay, probably a little more than that. All right. Okay, I'm going to go to a little bit smaller of a ball. The smaller the ball, the more the punch that you're going to get. But that can also create problems for you because it can get away from you faster. Okay, give me a light one. A little again. Okay, Maybe a touch little heavier handed. Yep, there you go. One more time. Hit it again. Yep. Yep. There it is. Put it back on. Want to kind of move this around, bell around, kind of get it back in the right spot. See if I can straighten that brace. Okay, we got a key guard is bent. Now that we can see, and these are moving. Yep, coming on a little bit. I am almost on the original pad seat. Look at that. C sharp is operational. The B key is closing. The B flat is closing. The B key needs to go this way some. That'll be a matter of bending the arm when we go to put a new pad on. The key guard is bent here, and I see that there's a divot in the B flat tone hole. But on the overall, this has come back. Let's attack the bell rim. Now I'm going to take the rounded side of my Ferree's hammer. These are just my favorites. I'm going to come in where these low spots are, and I'm trying to get behind that rim. Remember, that rim is hollow. And what I want to do is push all of this back up. There's a big swipe. And I just prefer to do as much of this by hand as I can. Okay. All right, now I'm ready to roll a little bit. Now I'm just working, I'm watching the crease lines that I can see on the bottom side of the bow here. And I'm just wanting to work those. So now I'm going to take the knife edge burnisher, try to get even further in, and I've got these little spots here. And I really just want to, I'm working to push these up. So I started with that dent hammer because I wanted to affect a general area. And now I want to do a particular spot and go after a particular line or crease. Two hands on the burnisher. This is as much control as you can give or get. And I still have not tapped on the rim because if I do at this point, it will have to move so much to where it'll crush that hollow spot and then it won't look right. Some flat spots here. I'm gonna go ahead and start rounding all this over. This is the little tapered roller from the mini Z kit. Using my finger up under the burnisher, so it's twofold, and my finger's adding and pushing against it, so I'm adding some resistance. Of course, not like steel, but I also can feel the burnisher through the brass. So I'm trying to push this back into a round shape. This is the part where you can easily go too far and overexpand the flare, and you don't want to do that. So you're just working I'm just working these ridges. I believe we're about ready to straighten the rim now. Well, we're going to use this P71P, this brand new tool that I was talking so highly about, that I love. It's going to be the perfect shape for this. And I saw a lot of questions and comments online asking how difficult this was. Well, it was a mother to saw that off. This thing, I don't know what polymer this is made out of. This is some tough stuff. So I've got to order a new one of these P71Ps. But look, it's going to be just perfect for getting this back. Yep, there we go. Now we're moving it. Let's move on and address the E-flat C situation. I'm going to see if I can get this rod out and to take the keys off first. Feels like it may be, the rod may be frozen up. Hit it with some of the old corrosion cracker. Oh yeah, so we have an additional problem here, that the steel rod inside is rusted, so we're gonna have to, it's gonna be a little bit extra. Yeah, that's rusted. I'm gonna run out of gas. Okay. Tool, I think it's like the N85. And what we're going to do is we're going to come inside, right up against our dent. I'm going to control it with my hand and keep it off of the tonehole edge. So you just kind of have to rub up on it good. And like always, tap my high spots. And like everything else, it's controlled. I'm looking through this tone hole and I can see that the epoxy on the inside has broken away. So we will end up having to take the bell off, re-epoxy it, and reset it. Since that's broken, I could take the bell off and work this with a dent ball. And I might do some of that. However, greater chance I could do something bad to the tone hole. The manner of least resistance right now is to continue with what I've got going. And I'm just using my left hand to feel for the high spots, and my right hand is pushing. I know you can't see very well. Once again, I'm just feeling around on everything. That's what I'm doing with my finger there. I can feel the bottoms of the dents, and I can feel where the hammer is going. Now I do think that I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to hammer tap this over a ball to get it the rest of the way. So I'm not going to actually use the ball for dent removal. I'm going to use it as a form. I'm going to use this canvas hammer because I can get up around the tone hole with it. I saw they came out with a new size of this canvas hammer. I'm going to have to get it for sure. I don't want to use a steel hammer and a steel ball because that's going to make a bulge, and I don't want it to bulge. When you're doing tenons, replacing a tenon on a clarinet, for example, when you take the keys off the outside and that cutter is turning and it's going in, and then it has, these would be cutters, and so it goes through the bore, and then this is cutting. Well, there's a tendency for the clarinet, because it's so thin, it wants to do this. And so you take a radiator hose clamp and it keeps the shape, right? So what we're going to do is that same methodology. We're going to hose clamp and give resistance to this part here that's got to stay round. But these couple of dents are, I can't leave them. I just can't. So we're going to make it as safe as possible. So there you go. So I've moved to the trombone stubby rod from the mini Z kit. And I'm using a drawing motion. Got to get all this glue out of here. Just take a high heat gun. Get this epoxy mixed up good. Make a coating inside. Slip the ring on before we forget. Do the outside. Okay. There. There we go. And that's what's going to locate the band. Okay, now we just wait. Our epoxy is cured. Everything is nice and firm. I've got the keys operational again. But we're going to address this damage to the tone hole This is a tool that I made back. This is a piece of ABS that I turned. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll this right across. I'm using my finger pressure here on the back. And I'm just going to roll this. And I'm letting it, so you can see it's kind of cutting into the ABS, but I'm just letting this come across and flexing this back. And it really works well to round out tone holes like that. Now, while I'm still over here at the woodwind bench, let's go ahead and we're going to level all these tone holes, make sure they're good to go, and then we'll start putting stuff back together. These are the new style. This is a diamond pattern instead of the old file pattern that they used to use. They come in a 400 and 800. Very convenient. So I've got my pilot. I'm going to mark with a Sharpie. I can still feel the lacquer on the tone hole. I'm going to put this on and see where we're at. I've got a low spot right there and a low spot over here. I felt like we brought it back pretty good. Just go a little bit and give it a check. Still got a low spot over here. I usually hold it in a different manner, but wanted to make sure I could get it into the camera. Almost there. And having the tone holes level is just key to the instrument playing properly. You know, you want the dents out, you want the finish to look as good as it can. You want all the parts to work right. But in order for it to play its best, the tone holes have to be level. And you don't want to be shimming stuff in there. There we go. Let's move on to the Seakey. You just do a little bit and then check it. Do a little bit and check it. Let's get the keys and the post mounted back on. Well, all that's left to do now is everything. I'm going to go ahead and get new pads installed for the E flat, the C, the C sharp, the B, and the B flat. I'm going to make sure that the keys are fit back the way that they need to, that the pad cups are tilting. I know there's a little bit of issue with this foot of this key guard that I've got to straighten. So I've got a couple of little things on a punch list to take care of as I'm working through. Good morning. I spent much more time last night fitting keys and getting the keys straight. I'm just installing the bell keys now, and we've got this nice pop happening, and I thought I would share one regulation tip that I like to do often. Miss Kay, if you want to come zoom in, I like to take the G-sharp lever off so that it acts with the lower stack, and then I check the G-sharp and the BIS B flat and see how they close in relation to my stack closing. So I want everything to close at the same time with that minimal pressure. You see that? Mm-hmm. And that's a great way to know that your horn is going to play. Even with no guards on. I mean, it's going to be great. Yep. Sometimes you have those projects that really test your skill set and thinking outside the box. And you're always trying to make it look as good as you can. All the G-sharp table keys are back to where they need to be. Friends, that sax really tested my skills, for sure. Sometimes you have a project like that. I'm glad it came out good. Plays great, so everything is going to be good. This is our next victim. You want to see a preview of it? Come zoom in. Here we go. Wow. Well, thanks, friends, for coming by the shop today. I really appreciate it. Well, I guess that would be 2 days. I know this is going to be a long video, so if you made it to this point to see the payoffs, appreciate you sticking around. We all have those projects sometimes that everybody thinks that there's not going to be any hope for them, and that's our job, is to give hope back to these instruments and to rebuild them and make them like new as much as we can. It's got some scars, but it plays great, and that's the important thing. I used a whole bunch of tools in this, a lot of cool tools. I used a lot of cool tools in this video, some from Ferree's tools, some that I've made on my own. Unfortunately, I had to sacrifice one of my new favorite tools, the P71P, the bell mandrel tool, polymer. I was able to reconfigure it and make it work for the rim of the saxophone, and it turned out great. So I'm just going to order another one, and all will be good. I'm never opposed to making one tool into something else that I need, and then I just replace the old tool. So think about that. Don't ever be afraid of manipulating or modifying an existing tool. Just make sure you get another one to replace the original intended use. I'll go back through the video because over the past 2 days I don't remember all the tools I used. When I'm editing this, I'll write down all the part numbers, tool numbers. I'll put them in the description below, along with a link to Ferree's tools so you can call them up and get some of the cool tools for yourself. If you're a tech out there, if you're a saxophone player, keep 2 hands on your horn. Don't drop it, please. Although we like the challenge. Well, I got to get going. This horn is going to be a doozy today, so I appreciate the comments and the subscribers and all of that stuff. It means a whole lot to me. I appreciate you learning about the instrument and the way that the trade works and how we get things done. See you next time. This is Wes Lee signing out.